Astra, thank you. Doing it immediately when I couldn't pick up the mic, but thank you. Thanks, Astra. You're so sweet. I love you. I can't believe I haven't given you VIP. What have I been doing with my life? So how is everybody doing today? I know that I is melting. I know that I am having a high key anxiety day, so my heart rate is through the roof. So it's going to be weird energy today, baby. But how is everybody else doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Nobody knows. It's mystery. Oh, there's a new camera setup. Do you see this? Because Astra so very kindly got me a new mic stand for my birthday. So you can actually like see everything. It's a little bit more scrunched because I have my giant paper cutter out today. So we're going to be cutting some backing for the stickers that should be showing up this week. Everything is very exciting. And honestly, from what I heard from the stuff going on downstairs in the room, not too bad. So that's good. That's good. We're going to try to not continue being anxious about that. What was I doing? I really just am sure a person that does things sometimes. I woke up at like 6 o'clock this morning because I had a nightmare. There we go. Okay, Astra, you're VIP now, which I should have done before. I guess I just didn't think of it when I was adding people. What was I saying? I woke up because of a nightmare today. Yes, let's go, Trisha. Let's all be anxious all the time forever. Let me use Trisha's command really fast because that is also a thing that exists. If you guys aren't following Trisha, you really should because she's incredible and I love her and her energy is just mwah, chef's kiss all the time forever. Yeah, let's go Anxiety Club. So, I'm in between projects a little bit because the stickers that I ordered took a little bit longer. They've been a bit swamped at the company that I use, and they're a small company. And also, I ordered 250 stickers, which is like the biggest order I've ever done with them. So it makes sense that it took a little longer. But since they aren't here yet, I already printed the backings that I use for those, and I actually got new paper that's thicker. Can you hear it? Maybe? So we're gonna cut those. I did change colors. So this is a packaged rainy day sticker sheet. I've got 2 new sticker sheets coming. And so I was using this thinner purple, which I have a light on today, so it's a little shiny. But we're switching over to green because that's a lot easier to find in heavier weight paper for some reason. Oh, here's some that are not in bags, just for the backing. So this one is for specifically the Jikigon sheets. But I've also removed the border that I had around them because my printer was offsetting them and it was going to make my life a living hell. And I decided that, you know what? Yes, I like the way that looks. I don't like the way that looks enough to deal with it every single time I have to print stuff. So, a little bit different, but mostly the same. Let's see, what else do I see? And I think I still have some from when I printed last time because I always print extra because I'm that kind of person. I need to be extra prepared. Yeah, so my printer does do double-sided printing on its own, which is nice, but it isn't like spot on. Well, it isn't as spot on as I would like. So I have these ones, which I started testing, and you can't really tell unless you hold it up to the light because the paper is so thick, but like the edging is like on the other side is like right here. And it was gonna drive me absolutely batshit. So I decided to just not do that at all anymore. Because like on the plain paper, so I always print a plain paper one before I do the fancy paper. It's only offset by a little bit, but it gets worse the thicker the paper gets. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just not. So we're going to work on this. And then I also have a knitting project that I would really like to get done this month, but I don't think I'm going to. That's a baby blanket for some of my friends who are having a baby. And not only do I have the one blanket that I'm currently working on, I have yarn for 2 other of the same blanket, and I have fabric to make a quilt for them. None of those are getting done by the time the baby is born. I've just accepted that as the truth of my life because the baby's due in October. So maybe we can get some knitting done on stream too, because I really need to work on it. And also it's one of those things that is really good when I'm having anxious days because it doesn't require, oh, thank you, Astra. Because it doesn't require like a huge amount of thought, but it requires enough thought and enough movement that I feel like I'm actually accomplishing things. So because I don't have lines on this, I don't actually have the guidelines. You can't see all the way up to the top here, but this cutter came with a guide that I just use. And the bags are never exactly the right size either, and the sticker sheets themselves are going to be cut by the company, and those aren't always perfect, but I can at least use the guide to see how this goes. And as always, yeah, that's fine. I have printed extras, so if something goes wrong, it's going to be fine. But if I recall, yeah, I need to trim some off of the edges because life can never be easy, can it? It always has to be the most difficult. Otherwise, it won't be centered. Yeah, my idea with the stream layout that I do is just a whole bunch of random sheets of paper because that's kind of how my notebook ends up looking by the end of the month. You can try to do a bullet journal in a way that's pretty and nice, but that's never the way it actually turns out. Let's be real. I'm just too much of a force of chaos for that to work out. Is this one like, that one's basically centered. I don't know why some of them are and some of them aren't. This is why I decided to not do, now that I know that those line up all right, we can do a couple sheets at a time. This is probably not the most riveting content, but how good does that sound? Let's go! Anxiety and chaos meet. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't have it out here with me, but I do mood planning. That's not the words that I mean. Mood tracking and like habit tracking and stuff on mine. That's all color coded, which does look nice if you don't know what the colors mean. It looks less nice when you know what the colors mean. But I basically just have like a to-do list. So I have like my daily to-do list, and then I have like a continuing to-do list for longer term projects. Because if I just put like the entire long-term project on my daily to-do list, I don't get to check it off, and then my brain decides to be mean to me that I didn't accomplish anything, even though that's not true because I was making steps on the thing the whole time. So I separate those out. That's a mood, Astra, honestly. It's probably just like better for everybody to assume I'm in a bitchy mood. It will save you a lot of trouble. Yeah, brains are weird, but once you figure out like some sort of method, it really helps. Like, I'm not saying that suddenly I started bullet journaling and now I'm the pinnacle of mental health, because that's just straight up not true, baby. But it does help, especially when your brain is constantly telling you you didn't actually accomplish anything, but you're actually working on things really hard. So I do like little steps on my daily to-do list. And then I have the whole project. And instead of checking those off, I put a plus on it if I've accomplished something for that during the day, even if it's little, even if it's just like thinking about it. Because a lot of big life choices, a lot of the work is just thinking it through, which nobody warned me about as a child, I would like to point out. Like, you just assume everybody knows what they're doing, but they don't. We're all just making it up. These are not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I'm not perfect either. So I don't know how I'm going to store all these stickers when they get here. I've been storing the ones that I have already in my shop in a little receipt container. Here, I will show you. It's a little receipt accordion file that I cut the top off of. So they're in here. I have exactly enough slots for how many stickers I have right now. So maybe I'm going to buy another one of these, but I should probably figure out a better, more permanent solution. Or I could just leave them all in a mess and make my brain go crazy. Yeah, for real. There's so much thinking involved in art too. Like, conceptualizing a project is so much freaking work. I just announced my next long-term project on my Patreon this week, actually. Hi, Grim! I will hydrate just a moment. Say something nice about myself. I really should start thinking about these beforehand and just like making little notes. I'm gonna hydrate while I'm thinking. Slurp. And stretching. I like how yeah, you would. I like how thoughtful I am as a person. I don't know. I've been noticing, because I've been spending some time in some new Twitch streams, like new communities to me. And I've noticed that like my energy as a person is actually like really thoughtful and sweet. What's that about? And like that actually, I've been doing a good job of making sure that that reads well. Ooh, that was too many sheets to do at once, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't know. One of the streamers I watched was started stream late and was having tech issues and stuff like that. And one of the first things that I did was be like, okay, it's all right. Calm down. We can still have fun even if you weren't thinking this was how today was going to turn out. It'll be okay. And they actually sent me a message thanking me for being so supportive. And I was like, I don't know, that's just who I is as a person. Thanks, guys. I don't know, a lot of times I guess I've had people in my life in the past who thought I was selfish because I don't always say out loud how I'm arriving at a conclusion of why I'm doing something. And so because they didn't see me or hear me saying why I had chosen to do something, they assumed that I hadn't put thought into it and was just thinking about myself, but that's never how I make a decision, ever. So it's nice that I have people in my life now that actually like see me for who I am. That's a big step. I've done a great job of cultivating the relationships that I want to keep in the past few years and finding new ones that are worth cultivating. So that's good. Okay, so we've got the 5 side now. We get to do the 7 side. If I was a different kind of person, I would do all of the 5 cuts at once because the other size of these we need to do are 3x5s. But I'm not going to do it that way. That's because you're nice, Grim. Like, you can sass yourself about it all the time and make fun of yourself, but you're actually a very nice person. and you care about me a lot, which is pretty obvious. Hate to break it to you. You're ruining your cool exterior. These ones I also need to trim differently. But because there's not lines, I can make it up however I want. Let's go. No, you're not. You say that about yourself a lot, but you're actually a very nice person. Which is part of why you're a mod. You're the right mix of vindictive and care about me so that you'll protect me if something bad happens. Because I think one of the true keys to happiness is finding people who would be willing to fight for you if it came down to it. Yeah, exactly. And I am also like that. Like, I'm a very nice person in general. I don't necessarily want to hurt people, but if you fuck with my people, ooh, you watch out. I will destroy you. And I don't even need to do physical violence. I am a very perceptive person, and I can tell what you're insecure about, and I will destroy you. Oh yeah, sorry, I missed your comment earlier, Astra. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes actions speak for themselves, and sometimes they don't. And more often than not, they don't. Like, allistic people really think that they're good at communicating, and they really aren't. It's wild. Oh yeah, for sure. If anybody messes with Trish, it's going down. Thank you, I. See, everybody's so nice to me. I picked the right people. I don't know. I've been realizing, I guess, over, I don't know, the past month or so, that I'm actually the kind of person that makes for a good community. What? Because, like, I've been long-term members of a lot of people's streams because it's, like, the best kind of socialization for me. Oh, yeah. You sure do, Trish. If anybody tries to sass you, it's going down. Ooh, that one was, like, way trim different than the other ones. That's fine. But I've been, like, the majority of my streams, I'm there every single, for other people's streams, I mean. I'm there every single time. I'm working to try to help keep the community good. I always greet people. I try to be helpful everywhere, which is also just a thing that I'm like. I like being helpful. But I don't know, I've actually been pretty important to how some people have created their communities. And I didn't really realize that until like this week when I was thinking about it. And then I got over emotional about it and started crying, like you do when you realize that you actually have importance. But yeah, I don't know. I've been having a very emotional week. And part of that is definitely because the sun is going away and it's cold here. Winter is starting. It's not even coming, it's just here. We had to turn the heat up yesterday in the house. Now this one has some scuffs from the printer. Maybe I'll set that one aside and decide if I care. I think one of the things I did that was really kind of smart, to toot my own horn with my sticker packaging, is make it feel very homegrown, if you will, so that little mistakes actually feel on brand. That was really smart of me. Yeah, it's really bad up here, Astra. So for people who don't know, I live in Alaska. And it's a nightmare place if you have depression. Fun facts. Yep. So we're losing like 20 minutes of light a day. And it's awful. I have a happy light alarm, actually, that I used this morning because I was going to get up before. Excuse me, the sun was really up. which will be getting worse and worse because my alarm today was set for like 8:30, which is not when I got up because my brain is a nightmare zone, but it'll get worse and worse. And I'm already taking like a ton of vitamin D. So I probably should go get my levels checked, honestly. Because I feel like I'm still not functioning properly. Which, properly for me is a little bit different than properly for the rest of the world. But, you know. It doesn't hurt to get it checked in any case. Man, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. I'm blasting through this. That's too many sheets. But yeah, it's also been like super rainy here. We didn't have like a standard summer because usually we'll stay pretty sunny and ooh. Hello? Don't do that. Thank you for not working. What did you decide to do? Let's try that again, shall we? Thank you. Goodness gracious. So usually we're like sunny and in the 70s for the majority of the summer. But this summer we once again broke records for the amount of rain we got, and we broke records all winter for the amount of snow we got, which in Alaska is a bit of a task. So it's been wet. It's been wet here. Which has been nice for the amount of mushrooms I got in my backyard. I will say that. Okay, you want to not be a poop this time? No. Okay. I like this thing, but it does have some issues. There we go. I don't know why you're throwing a hissy fit today. It's probably just too many sheets of paper and I need to chill, is the answer. Yeah. It also is always better up top, but that's where the guide is. So if I'm doing something without the guide, I need to do it down here, which is fine. I am also having trouble picking up things because I broke the heck out of my thumbnail. It doesn't look as bad. I was considering wearing a band-aid on it if it didn't look better by stream, but I broke my nail down like a 1/4 inch below the quick. It was really bad and it was owie, and I made a lot of rude noises about it. But I'm so used to having fingernails that if I don't have them, I can't pick anything up. So I do still have nails on the rest of my fingers, which I did trim from last time. They're more reasonable now because I chopped the hell out of the one. But yeah, it was not a comfortable time. I picked up a box like this, like claw machine, and it slid through my hand and it caught the nail just right to pull it like way off my finger. Not comfortable. What's really funny, this might be a little bit of TMI, but whatever. We're friends, we can share. But the box that made me bleed was a box of tampons. Because I bought some in bulk, because it's cheaper. And so I picked it up like this, and then the tampons made me bleed. So that's a little ironic, don't you think? Like, how rude. I should not do all of those sheets at once because that's gonna mess with the blade again. Learn from your past mistakes, Catherine. That's crooked. Yeah, it was great fun, and I had a really fun time. I had to wear a Band-Aid on it for like 3 days, but finally it mellowed out and the scab is gone. It looked really gnarly for a bit there. Also, it didn't break all the way across. It broke to like here, and then I had to tear the rest of it off, which was super comfortable and fun for me. I would not wish that on people. And I totally get why pulling people's fingernails out is a well-established method of torture. Not comfy. Who knew? Okay. That's those ones all done. Whoop, whoop. Now we get to do 3x5s. I think another thing that I did with this that's really smart is I only really have 3 different sizes of packaging to do. One of them is just for one sticker sheet, which I can pull one out to show you. This one. They're just a different size than everybody else, but they're special. These are ones that I made as fan art for Jick, who also has a command. Who is just like one of my best friends ever. I've been hanging out in his stream and bothering him for like 5.5 years at this point. So, but yeah, I've done a lot of fan art. I think this one is a good sticker pack though. So you got the 3 little pories. Instead of the pink, you have purple and then plaid, which is hard to see. I don't know, that's gonna be so out of focus. And then beanies. Although he hasn't been wearing beanies as much because it's been so friggin' hot. Okay. Don't do that many sheets. 3 is a good amount of this thickness. This one is a mess and a half to do. Okay. Because I fit 5 of them on a sheet, so it's a bit funky to do. This is what I want to do. Yes. Pretty sure. I should do 1 just to make sure before I start rolling around. I also need to move my water bottle. This table was not made for this device. It's a bit too big. Hopefully though, we got good news. That feels too close to me. I want to trim off the edge a little bit. Hopefully we have good news about the room that I want to turn into the studio, and that will go better. Hoping. I think I deserve something to be easy this year. It's been a rough year. There, okay. That's fine. Is that... Then I just need to trim off some of the top. Yeah. All right, we vaguely know what we're doing. Vaguely. Would you tell the downstairs room that, please? At least I should count my blessings with that for real though, because if that floor had been wood instead of concrete, it probably would have been a lot worse. Because so it's the room where my rabbits used to live. They've been dead and gone for a significant amount of time, but it just caused me such a huge depression anytime I tried to clean up in there that I haven't messed with it at all. Okay, those are all 5s. So that's a different task for a different time. So I probably, if I had cleaned it up before now, probably would have found the issue before. But I don't know. It's just like a whole set of mental acrobatics that I've been having to do with this. And I'm over it. But hey, some progress is still better than no progress. So there you go. That's something for everybody going back to school too, because 'tis school times. Remember that some effort is better than no effort. Always. Turning in like half a page of something instead of turning in nothing, or turning in something late instead of turning in nothing is always better. Always. Pro tips. If you can't whole-ass it, half-ass it. And I did actually get an Instagram ad that proves that the app is spying on me, just for the record, about a online museum studies master program, which is what I was planning to do before my brain decided to try to kill me really hard. So I may need to look into that in a little bit. I don't know if the school is reputable, but I'll look into it. Because if it is something you can do online, that's not too bad. I could probably manage it. I was going to move to Arizona. That was my real plan. That didn't happen. Fun facts. No, Trisha, no. In that way lies madness. It really is hard. Like, I say that, it is still difficult for me to accept that you can actually just do things and not have them be perfect. I definitely have that issue. Which is why I'm a little bit scared about October, not gonna lie. Because I'm gonna try to do Stream Inc. That's my plan. But I also need to set it up so that I don't burn myself out really bad. Because I'm also, so I may have overbooked myself for a little bit for October, mentally speaking. So my dream journal project that has been my long-term project for a little over 2 years now is coming to an end. The last one is going to be released in October, at the beginning of October. And so I will be starting my new long-term project in October as well. Because I think that that's going to... My original thinking was that, like, going straight into the other one would keep me on track instead of having like a span of a month where I wasn't actually doing anything, and then I would get out of the momentum. I was going to say lazy, but that's not fair to myself. It's just, I'm a creature of momentum. If I don't keep going, I stop. But I also want to do Stream Inc. because some of the prompts for that one this year look really fun. So I need to figure out a way where I'm taking the pressure off of myself for that, so that I actually like let myself enjoy making art. Wild concept, I know. And not end up too wrapped up in perfectionism. I've gotten better at it, but it just occurred to me that I have not been checking the back of these like at all. We're fine. We're fine. Hoi doi. But I'm thinking maybe I want to do just like a contact sheet of like tattoo style designs. Something pretty like simple isn't exactly the right word, but it's a stylistic choice that doesn't involve as much effort on my part and doesn't make me want to do a fully rendered drawing every single time, which will make me exhausted. I do actually have my sketchbook here with all the prompts listed, and I think most of them will translate well to a tattoo style. And then maybe I can just do it all on one page, and if I like some of them, I can work on it more later. And if not, then I don't. The first one, though, is stellar, and I already have like a super fun idea for it that's going to be a little out there. I could also combine some, I guess. I need to allow myself to. The real difficulty here is me not making up rules in my head to follow that don't mean anything and nobody asked me to do. That's another problem of perfectionism. where it's like, well, if I don't do 31 separate drawings, then does it count? Yeah, it does still count. Stop being silly. I have so many little sheets of paper here. Look at all these scraps. I don't know what to do with these. If I saved them, I could probably make new paper with them, but I think that that is maybe the crazy Katie talking and not the actually going to manage it Katie. This is the problem with being like a crafty person. You always look at something and you're like, I could make something with that if I save it. And then all of a sudden your entire house is filled with paper scraps and you're like, how did this happen? And maybe shove too many pieces of paper together for this one. It's fine. It's fine. I have done really well, especially this past month. I can speak, with extending my reach online, which is great. It does mean that I need to continue doing. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to upload something today. It does mean that I need to keep doing reels and videos and stuff, but that's not too bad. I think I'm getting better at conceptualizing those a bit. But my engagement on Instagram was up 9,000% this month, which is pretty dang impressive. So yeah, your girl is thriving by becoming a slave to the algorithm. But still, you know, I'll take a win where I can get it, man. It's interesting to see what catches and what doesn't across different platforms, because I've been posting the same shorts on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, as well as I've been posting links to those on like Tumblr and Twitter and stuff too. But it's interesting to see which ones get more engagement and which ones don't. Because like, while I get more engagement, like more views with the Pokemon stuff, I get less watch time overall, and I tend to get more dislikes, especially on YouTube. Which makes sense, because I think that's not what people are expecting when they go into the Pokemon tag, maybe. But original art does way better on Instagram than it does on TikTok. But me just, for the teaser for the Dream Journal this month, I did a like series of shots of me just putting the paintbrush on paper on the very early stages of the piece. And that did like really well, even though I didn't show anything happening. Which I find really interesting. People just want to see the brush. Mostly I did that so that Aster could see me actually using the calligraphy brushes that she got me. So I don't have my other sheet up with all the pronouns. That's a me bad. Whoops. Apologies if I did a boo-boo. But I guess I will start doing that more. Although with the new project, it's going to be a little bit easier, because right now, the projects that I'm doing for Patreon are completely separate from everything else I'm doing, so I don't work on them on stream. But that's changing with the new project, because it's driving me bonkers to have to figure out how to have two separate to-do lists, basically, and make up projects to fill in the time. Which isn't necessarily bad. It did mean that I could just follow a whim for my art, but the next project is going to be done on stream too, and then the edited time-lapse videos are going to be Patreon only for a week, which is A week is the standard alert that they get compared to everybody else. They also get to vote. I guess I should just explain the project instead of rambling about something you know nothing about. I've decided to call it Color in Focus. So the plan is to do one color in focus a month, where I make that color the main color, like the main inspiration for 2 different pieces. So 2 pieces a month featuring the same color. And my patrons get to vote on what color is going to be the month's focus. And then I can work on those on stream and then edit the on stream stuff to be a proper time lapse and show them that, and then that will also be making video content. It's a good song. It's always a little awkward though if it's like a quiet point and all of a sudden it's just woman moaning. I do have a fair amount of Young Bae on this playlist. But it's really a stylistic mix of stuff. There's a link to it if my laptop will post that, please. Thank you. This poor girl, she's struggling. And I also think that just doing a color in focus means that I don't feel tied to one medium, because I am a multi-talented biatch, if you will, and I would like to incorporate more fiber into my standard stuff. I did just get, spoiler alert, a bunch of tiny little embroidery hoops, little baby ones like this big, to start making wearable art with. So like brooches and necklaces and stuff like that, as well as just being minis. So I'm hoping to do that too with that. And also I kind of want to play with mixing mediums a bit, because I think doing some like embroidery stuff on paper that I've painted will be interesting and cool, and I want to do that. So leaving the medium and stuff open while focusing just on the color gives me a lot more creative freedom to follow certain whims that I've been having, versus the dream journal where I was mostly just doing classic paint. I did only two of them digitally, just because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get what I wanted in a traditional medium, because I wanted to put in too many details. But I'm pretty excited for it. I've been having fun playing around with color. And being able to do like one to-do list versus having to have like 2 completely separate worlds for my art, it's just gonna be so much easier for my brain. So I'm excited for that too. I need to remember that these ones are not done, even though I want them to be. I need to trim them to the right height too. This is the big slog. This is the most of the stickers I'm getting. I only have 50 sheets coming in, but I have 200 individual stickers to go in this packaging. So it's just a few more sheets of paper. And we'll see if I actually did the math right about how many of these I really needed. I'm bad at math. I did it 3 different times and came up with the same answer, but that doesn't mean that it's right. It just means that it's either right or I did it wrong the same way 3 times. And I'm really good at doing math wrong. One of my best talents. Truly. You're so crooked. What are you doing? There we go. It is so damp here today. It's raining more. And it's the level of cold where we've been getting condensation inside the windows in the mornings, which is super fun. Usually I put a towel underneath the bottom of my window just to catch the runoff and then wash that when I wash my sheets. So I probably need to remember that's too close to start doing that soon. Yes, thank you. I know you're throwing a hissy fit. Get over it. Me at my brain. I'm gonna need to figure out how I want to do product shots for the stickers. I was gonna keep one for myself because I need to take pictures of the stickers, because a lot of mine have clear backgrounds because I like that better. So they don't look as good just on the paper because you can't see that there's clear there. But one of them is the cat sticker that's in 2 pieces so that you can stick it around like a piece of washi tape or whatever, or a label, so that it looks like the cat is hanging behind your label. And I think that one's going to need a little bit more explanation. The sewing sheet also has a split one, but I didn't get a separate single of that one. It's just got a needle that looks like it's threaded through the paper. Figuring out the words to explain things like that is never my forte. That's like my least favorite part, is writing the flavor text for stuff. My brain just finds it really heckin' boring. So I have to bribe myself to get it done. If I finish doing all of the listings, then I get a delicious beverage as a little treat. That's how I've been doing it. Hey, thanks, Grib. Yeah. See, I have such a particular writing style that I think that I couldn't get away with that unless I wanted to feed a bunch of my my stuff into the AI, which I'm not thrilled about doing. Although, considering how many things I have in my Google Docs, they've probably already scanned all that for me. But I really do, for stuff like that, type the way that I speak a lot of times, which got me in trouble in college a lot, actually, because my professional write for paper writing is very different from how I speak. So a bunch of, yeah, fair. A bunch of teachers actually were like, oh, well, your speaking voice doesn't come through in your writing. And I'm like, that's just because my writing voice is different. Deal with it. Like, I'm sorry if me writing about, what was that paper on that teacher did that for? I think it was Frida Kahlo. Like, I'm sorry that you think that me talking about Frida Kahlo is not how I would speak about her, and you're kind of right, because I was writing an academic paper, not talking to a friend. Those are kind of different voices. That teacher was awful, though. I had a lot of really good teachers in college, and some have stuck with me for all the wrong reasons, and so many of them were art teachers, which is really unfortunate. Because I did have some really great art teachers that I'm still friends with, but some of them it was really clear that they did not want to be teaching, which is unfortunate, because that ends up with a bad experience for everybody involved. God, there was one teacher who said that she graded on a bell curve, and what she meant was that she explained this to us. I'm not I don't know, guessing at this. Her idea of a bell curve was reading all the papers and then laying them out in front of her from best to worst. In her opinion, this was not by any quantitative means, and then deciding which ones deserved A's and which deserved F's. And that was not a fun class. Just gonna throw that out there. And also, that is not how you grade on a bell curve. Just, like, we get it. We get it. You don't understand. I'm bad at math, but at least I don't pretend to know. A bell curve is the only way I pass statistics, as a matter of fact. Let's see, what other silly things do I have to talk about? I started playing a game last night that I had on disc when I was a child. I say child, I was probably in middle school. And the things that I remember from that game and the things that I don't are very interesting. It's one of the old Nancy Drew games, like the point and click mysteries. And I didn't remember the name of it. I just remembered that it was based in San Francisco. Frida Kahlo is amazing, for sure, in so many different ways, too, like as an artist and just like as a person. She was baller. Am I gonna remember the name now? Nancy Drew and the Haunted Mansion, I think. It's based in a Victorian mansion in San Francisco that was built before the earthquake. And it does suffer from some Orientalism, if you will, which is common in the Victorian era too, but it definitely has some bastardization of Chinese culture. Which is one of those things when you're an adult you can't unsee. But I started doing that last night, and because my day was just like, I had some free time and I've been feeling kind of burnt out. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna make myself some tea and sit in bed and play this silly little game. And I feel better today, so there you go. It's almost like I needed some breathing space. Yeah, and it was an old game, so it was I think it was originally released in like 2004, 2003, something like that. Because I had it when I was still in that one house, and we moved when I was in high school, so it would have been sometime when I was in middle school, so like 2000 to 2004 realm, somewhere in there. Maybe, yes, that sounds right. I do. It's probably. We should add each other on Steam. I'll just jump to the actual thing I was going to say instead of Yeah, I was gonna say, I was pretty sure that was old. So that would have been right when I was graduating elementary school into middle school. I'm the same username. I should add that as a command. Add my Steam friend, friendy bits. What was I doing? I'm so easily distracted. I am writing down that I want to add Steam as command. That's fine. I could also add my switch code. I'm the same username everywhere, so I'm also like really easy to find, generally speaking. Okay, cool. That'd be great. But yeah, whichever one I started playing yesterday, I just like left it on for a significant amount of time too, because sometimes you just get distracted by your phone. I've been spending like a lot more time on Instagram, especially because I deleted the Tumblr app because they finally pissed me off enough. So sometimes you just get scrolling and you kind of forget what you were doing, and then all of a sudden you hear the fan on your Steam Deck start going because you left it on your blanket for a half hour. You know, just girly things. I will add you after stream. Because if I tried to open Steam right now, I think my laptop would catch on fire. And I also have an audiobook I need to finish. I might actually need to extend that one. Yeah, for sure, Astra. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way I have to approach it is like examining cultural changes in behaviors and attitudes. Otherwise, I end up exploding on the inside. Yeah, yep. Because I've also been going through a lot of Agatha Christie this year, which again, same issues, because her written stuff is from like 1920s and 30s. She is so anti-Semitic. The Arrow was also anti-Semitic, so I'm not saying that like, you know what I'm saying. It's just something to be aware of for sure. And one of her mysteries, I've been going through the Hercule Poirot stuff specifically. But one of the mysteries that isn't from one of her series changed names, I want to say 3 times, because every single name they picked was racist. And racist in different ways, which is so fun and exciting. Ugh. It now goes by and then there were none. But yeah, she also definitely was part of that big Egyptian pillaging push that happened around that time too. Her second husband was an archaeologist and did a whole bunch of Egyptian stuff. I don't want to call it archaeology, even though they did, because I don't think it technically counts as anthropology. Really, it was just pillaging. So she spent a lot of time there. And her second husband was much better for her than her first husband and all that kind of stuff. So I can be happy for her as a person, while also realizing the harm that she perpetuated with both her actions and her books in that realm. But being aware of something like that is, yeah, difficult, and it can take you out of the book and stuff like that. But you can also, for a lot of things, see the good areas of it. And by acknowledging the bad with the good, you're doing a much better job of remembering people, especially historical people, as full-rounded people and not limiting their scope to a single facet. Because not everybody is full good or full evil. There are levels of gray, and we have to accept that living in a world as we do. is. If we just assume that people are either full evil or full good, we can never better ourselves, and that's an important aspect of being human. No, you're not, Grim. That's such a lie. Okay, back to 5 to do the height on these. Then we're done with those, and I will probably knit for a little bit. Exactly, Astra. Let's move these before they get so tall that they interfere with the cutting. This was so worth the money. It's a pain in the butt to store at the moment, but so worth it, especially with my bad wrist. Like, ooh. Okay, let's do these first. Okay. That's too many sheets. Excuse me. How did I get on that train of thought? Oh, it's Nancy Drew. That's what it was. Just neurodivergent things, not really remembering how you ended up where you ended up. It's a little close. I think that will be better. Give her a pat for me. Kaiju is a dog, for anybody wondering. There we go. Oh, I'm running out of surface space. That will be too close. I remember these ones being a pain in the butt. I've actually been pretty good about my posture today. Probably because my back has been hurting. Is that too close? Yes. Better. My hips have been driving me absolutely bonkers, and they've been not fun since I was a teenager and went through puberty, but you'd think at some point they would stop being obnoxious. You'd be wrong, but you would think so. Too many sheets at once. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. 3 is the appropriate amount, and I picked up 4. Okay. I think I probably won't full-on package the stickers on stream when they get here, because, well, I think that the cutty sound is a pleasant sound. I think the crinkling of the cello bags is not so pleasant, and is also really loud. If you disagree with me and you really want to hear me package things in cello, then let me know, because I will if you want it. But I'm guessing that's not a huge draw. Maybe for ASMR crowd, but I do not have an ASMR quality microphone. I should have checked on the back. It's fine though. There are a couple things that I do want to do, because I need to design some little thank you stickers for my packaging. That's something that I want to do, because I have yeah, that's fair. I do think that the cello bags pick up a lot louder, and I did specifically use my headset today instead of the Blue Yeti mic that I have, because I knew that it would end up being really, really loud. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Sound is one of those things that's so hard to tell when you're actually streaming. It's like impossible to tell what's what. It probably also helps that I had a lot of caffeine today, so I'm probably talking louder. I was like, my body was giving me heart palpitations because I was having anxiety, and I was like, I'll give you something to have heart palpitations about. That was my solution. Honestly, one of the things that I do when I'm having like really bad panic attacks is play BioShock because it gives my brain actually something to panic about. And then I can stop playing the game and my brain will be like, ah, okay, that's fine then. We're done, we're safe. It's so silly, but it works. Yeah, for sure. I've been going through a little bit, but not a lot, just because I know, like I like hearing my own voice. That's not the issue, but I am also really and truly doing stream of consciousness while I'm doing this stuff. So I know that I'll cringe and be like, "Why the hell did I say that?" So I need to limit it a little bit so that I don't end up driving myself bonkers. Because like there are some things to worry about, and there are some things to not worry about. And that's one I don't need to worry about. But I have been going through when I'm doing the highlighting for the Pokemon from memory, especially. Because I've been trying to find smaller clips for when I post the full one on my YouTube. Which I may just stop doing that. I don't know. They aren't super popular. But I think maybe just highlighting them and then saving them on Twitch so that I can download them another time if I decide that I want to is maybe the right answer. But I don't know. Figuring out what the right vibe to put out is for content is always difficult. And generally, I just kind of make a decision and stick with it instead of second guessing myself, publicly at least. This is working so much better without the lines. I'm so glad that I just got so angry that I decided to not bother with it. This looks fine. The lines just made it look messier because they were off center. But I do need to start doing more, that long term is not what I mean, long form YouTube videos, because I've been doing a lot of shorts and not a lot of longer stuff. Because I've been taking less time doing the digital art that I've been showing. So they really aren't long enough to make a proper video out of, in my opinion. Although the shorter ones are easier to find music for, anything over like 10 minutes is a nightmare to try and find music for. Yes, thank you, Lou, for lifting that up. That was super helpful of you. Oh, it's been an hour? How did that happen? I do actually have a few art pieces that I've finished on stream that I want to copy and edit into the kind of time-lapse format when I have time, which is like, whose time? Don't know them. I think I still have one like half edited from when I was doing the greeting cards, the hearts. Yeah, for real. Don't know him. If I did, I'd probably punch him in the face, not gonna lie. Like, get out of here. Nobody asked for you. Made me think of a line from Blazing Saddles, of all things, from that song that they sing in the saloon. Always going and coming and coming and going and always too soon. Hydrate and stretchy. You got it. Ugh, stretching. And I saw somebody yesterday who did like a little guided meditation at the start of their stream, and I thought that was such a cool idea. It's not something I'd do, but I think that's really a neat idea. Yeah, that movie is so funny. There's a lot of really good one-liners out of it. I use what a nice guy a lot, like way more than I should. Okay, hydrate and stretch. Accomplished. Stack. I wonder, with the purple paper, I made a printing mistake when I was first doing these because I didn't check it before I started printing on the expensive paper, which was silly of me. But I took all the extras and made a like notepad out of them with pad compound. I'm wondering if I want to do that with some of the green ones too, like on purpose, and make proper notepads instead of ones that are clearly misprints. I've been using those to stick in orders as like little thank you notes and stuff, which I think is good because it has like my social information. I've been using this side of it versus the side that's this side that's messed up on those, which I think was clever of me, because it meant that I didn't end up actually wasting that paper. Sometimes things don't go the way you planned, but you can still make something out of it. We did have somebody here in the house at the start of stream, which is why I hung off a little bit before I turned on the mic, who was checking our garage for structural damage, basically. And I had them check the room that I pulled the carpet up in too. Well, my brother did. I shouldn't take credit for that. My brother very kindly took over that interaction for me, as if he doesn't do all of that. I'm just not giving him enough credit right now. My brother does like everything all the time ever, and he's incredible, just in case anybody was wondering. But it sounds like the guy thought we were pretty much okay to replace that drywall and keep it dry down there. So it should be okay, hopefully. I mean, we'll need to do some other fixing for stuff outside the house, but that's a lot better than it could be, and I'm gonna take that for sure. So hopefully I'll get a proper setup soon, because I have bought a desk that's just sitting still in the box for when I get that room fully cleared out. There are some other things I want to do, but who was I talking to yesterday that I mentioned it? A couple of people. I think I mentioned it in Trisha's stream, actually. That I'd had a moment about my mom yesterday. Well, day before yesterday. For people who don't know, my mom passed away on the 1st of this year. It's been a journey. I don't know, Graham, do you need a nap? Because then I would say that it's nap time. I should check and make sure that's aligned on that side. But one of the pieces of furniture I have to put in there is something that I remember painting with my mom when I was a little kid. And I do need to repaint some of it because there's some damage on it from my rabbits. Oh, boo. So I am gonna need to repaint it, and I was at least part of it, and I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to decide how much of this I actually want to say on stream. That's a nice memory, and there has been a lack of those within recent years with my mom because of just personal stuff and what we're dealing with, and it's a lot. So I was kind of having like a wobble, I guess, about if I actually wanted to repaint that at all, or if I wanted to keep that as a memory, even though the color is a color that I won't match anything else that I own. But I'm thinking that maybe I'll paint the outside and leave the inside the same color. Like that won't be too clashy or anything. And then I can still have like that acknowledgement there and keep a nice memory. Because that's been a part that's been really difficult for me, is remembering like the nice stuff. Because our brains are really, are formulated to remember the rough stuff over the good stuff because that keeps us alive, right? But it also means that when you're trying to remember the good stuff, especially when you've been angry about things for a while, it can cause some difficulties. So I kind of don't want to just fully paint over that, both physically and metaphorically. We'll see. The reason that I was thinking about it because I was like, would that be a stream project? Would people want to see me paint a cabinet? I don't think so. Then I was like, well, that's probably going to be emotional for me, so I wouldn't want to do it on stream anyway. Because there are some things that I don't need to share. And that's probably going to be one of them. Also, I probably want to do it in like a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Ventilated room than the room downstairs, which just has the one window because it's like a half basement room. There's probably like a proper word for that kind of room that's like half underground and half not. I always just said that I lived in my mom's basement because we all owned the house together. We each owned a quarter. So technically it's my basement too, but that's not as funny. We gotta do it for the lulz. I need to remember to flip those around so that I'm actually seeing where the bottom is on the other side. There we go. There's the stack done. Whee. Snap, crackle, pop. How will this go? For one, that's too big of a stack. That's probably still too big of a stack. How's that look? Good. Perfect. These ones will go way faster. And then we can work on some knitting. It's not a super complicated project because I knew that I was going to have to do it fast, but it does look nice, I think. I'll show you in a second. I have it sitting behind me, but I also think that the colorway of this yarn is a little unfortunate, and I can understand why it was on sale. I got two other colors that were a little bit more expensive that I really liked. And then I was like, well, probably getting one that's easier to clean and actually matches the colors that I know they're doing for the nursery is the right bet. So I decided to start with that one because I was less excited about the yarn colors. So the other yarn colors will be a treat once I get started. But it's just kind of like a basic pink white, and then they have like a variegated gray in it, and it ends up just kind of making it look dirty, I think. It's a unfortunate choice. But I mean, it's a baby blanket. It's gonna get dirty anyway. It's not that big a deal. And they straight up did not ask me to do anything for them. They were like, we're having a baby. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna make you so many things. Get prepared. Because while I never want to have kids, I enjoy children. And I'm glad that people who do want to have kids are having them. My goal is to be the crazy aunt for sure. Actually, I mentioned this before, the farming sim that I've been playing that's still in development. Yeah, for sure. I'm extra when people have babies. I will make you so many things. Just give me a little warning and I'm on it. Especially for people I care about, for sure. I'm in the Discord for this game, that the farming sim I've been playing, Cornucopia, which is still in early access. So the devs are like talking and fixing the game as a bunch of us are playing through it. And we were talking this morning about what the child options were in the game, because you can like romance and get married and stuff, right? And I'm nowhere near that because I've been playing very slowly, but it looks like they're going to add a child-free option into the game because of us talking about it this morning, so I'm really excited about that. Because I think kids should always be a choice, digital or no. You know what, now that I think about it, I think that the other big baby present that I've done before was also for a baby due in October. Do my friends just make October babies? I guess. That wasn't technically a friend, I guess. It was one of my teachers, but I made a bilingual baby quilt. So I did like an ABC quilt with hand appliqued letters. And then did hand embroidered images next to the letters with something that started with the letter in English and then the Japanese word for it, because both the parents were bilingual. It was my Japanese teacher in college. Yeah, it took forever, and it was I definitely gifted it to them after the baby was born, but it was a really cool project. I actually got to use it for a class project too, because one of my, what class is that? Art Appreciation, I guess was the technical title of it. One of the things that the teacher wanted us to do was an upcycle project, and I got to use it for that because I was using all fabric that my family already had, because I come from, on my mom's side, a long line of sewers and quilters. So we had like a lot of fabric. So I mostly used things that we already had and recombined them in different ways, so that counted. Oh yeah, there was an Assassin's Creed. There was also a Fire Emblem game like that, right? I think it was Fire Emblem. painting a baby portrait is really good too, Trisha. That's so cute. I was considering making them like wall art of the kids' initials, because they've already picked a name and stuff. But I'm not sure that I'm gonna actually have time to do that on top of everything else. And the mom is also a crafty art person, so I'm sure she'll be on top of like the wall art and stuff. But she doesn't do knitting and sewing, to my knowledge at least. So I'll do that for them, and they can do the wall art aspect. But I was considering, because the theme they wanted to go with for the nursery was Hello Kitty. So I was considering doing like a Hello Kitty alphabet thing, but decided against it in the end. Yeah, my brother is the Fire Emblem person, not me. I have never played one of those games, but I think I remember something about that. I could be wrong though, so take with a handful of salt or something. But this game, you can do queer relationships and also have a baby with a queer relationship, which is cool. Very... It blew your mind, good way or bad way. But you can have babies in a queer relationship too, which is pretty cool. Not that I want to do that, but it's cool that they included it. It was smart of them to think that through. That's interesting. It's always interesting to hear combination accents. Like the narrator in The Last Campfire, one of my favorite games of all time, is, if I remember, some Nordic country and also lives in England. So they've got a pretty interesting like British accent with the Nordic accent too. Sounds really cool. I just like listening to people talk though. Oh my gosh, Astra, that sounds incredible. One of those things you can't get rid of. Can't get rid of. What, mouth? What are you doing? Nobody knows. Can't conceive of. That's what I was trying to say until you hear it. Brain function, don't know her, don't want her number, tell her to go away. Sounds just coming out of my mouth. No oversight, no manager, just going. I do make weird noises when I'm just sitting by myself sometimes. That's just the way of things, though, I think, especially for neurodivergent folks. Wrong pile. Yep. I do little like sing songs a lot of the time, especially if I'm like going from one room to another to try to remember something. I will make a little song to myself of the thing I'm trying to remember. Which helped a lot with human osteology because I made little dances. Human osteology would be the study of human bones, for the record. I know osteology is not a super common word. But for the carpal and the, I'm not going to remember the right word for it, tarsal bones, I did a little dance. So, like, I'm not going to remember, but pisiform is on the outside, hamate, stuff like that. So I would move my hand and sing a little song in my head to remember which was where. I did that with my foot, too. It was less obvious when I did it with my foot than when I did it with my hand. Only way that I was going to say the only way I passed human osteology. I didn't pass. It was too hard for me. I did a BA, and that was a BS class for sure, like Bachelor of Science, not bullshit. It was also a little bit of bullshit, but oh, yeah. That's smart. My mom did ASL at the community college when I was in elementary school. Elementary school? I think elementary school. She wanted to be a translator. Then never got to the end of that. Oh, you guys want to see like the worst little drawing I did earlier? Let's see if you can guess what this is. You can't even see it. There we go. That's a little better. What was I trying to convey with these sketches to my brother? It is a fish, but what kind of fish? I was trying to explain the fish that... So I will say that this is one angle of the same fish, and then the fish from a different angle. So this is what it looks like when it's clinging on the side of an aquarium. And this is what it looks like from the side. I had a dream last night. Catfish is close. Catfish is close. Pleco. Pleco was what we were looking for, and I could not for the life of me remember the name. I have so many tiny little pieces of paper. I should have brought a bag over here to put them in. But that would involve thinking things through, and that is not our forte. I had a dream last night, the dream that woke me up and then I couldn't get back to sleep, that my toilet exploded. Like full-on shooting sewer water to the ceiling level exploded. And for some reason, these fish were coming out of it too. And they're the little plecos. They're algae eaters in tanks. They grow pretty big, but usually when you see them at pet stores, they're like a couple inches long. One of my friends had them. We each got to pick a fish to go into her tank that was supposed to be us, and that's the one I picked. And I could not, for the life of me, remember the name. Does anybody want some little strips of green paper? I got you covered. But yeah, the part of what woke me up from the dream, aside from it just being like a stress dream, was that one of the plecos that had come out of the toilet was literally just hanging in the air like this. Like it was on the side of an aquarium, but it was just mid-air. And it was very strange. Oh, good to know, Trish. Maybe I'll give it to the neighbor who has the flamethrower and he can have fun burning these instead of just his leaves. Yeah, one of our neighbors has a homemade flamethrower that he uses on his lawn trimmings. We first discovered that when we were in the middle of a burn ban summer before last, which was not a wise choice, if you ask me. Okay, I'm picking up all these tiny strips of paper, and then I am going to take a BRB to put away the gigantic chopper, and then we can work on some knitting and maybe talking about ideas for stream ink, because I should start thinking about that. I have so many tiny little pieces of paper. All things considered, that's not that much paper waste for how much things we cut. Which is a proper sentence, don't even worry about it. So we have 55 by 7s, and then we have 200 and change of the 3 by 5s. Which I don't know where I'm going to keep those until it is time, but This is why I need a space for a studio. You hear that downstairs bedroom? You hear that? Get it together. Okay, I'm going to take a be right back, and I'm going to run some ads. So if you don't want to view the capitalism, look away, mute your screen. But do come back eventually, because I will also be coming back, and I would miss you if you weren't here. So hang in, and I will be right back. Okay, I have returned. And adding in the new scene just totally messed with my entire concept of where everything is. Okay, knitting. I need to change the brightness on the camera. Let's mess with that a little bit. If I do this, does that help you? Yes, that's much better. Okay, so baby blanket. #1 of 3, hopefully. This is a pretty relatively simple pattern. Most patterns are just some combination of purl and knit to make things the way you want to make them look. This one, my gauge is a little bit off. These are supposed to be squares, but they really ended up being a little bit more rectangular, which is fine because I used a different weight yarn than the pattern actually calls for. But basically it's just a rectangle of purl and knit to make the triangles in each. And 2 of these squares are a repeat in the pattern, so I've gotten 2 done, and we have 11 more to go before this blanket is done. This is one of the bigger ones of the pattern. There were 4 different sizes, and this is like not the smallest one, it's an in-between one. If anybody has any questions about knitting, I'm happy to answer. That's the wrong side of this. Yeah, I think it'll be really nice, and it is machine washable, which I think is very important when it comes to baby wear. A lot of people tend to use more natural fibers like wool, which I can see why people want to do that. That is not how I do baby stuff. Yeah, exactly. Machine washable for baby, I think, is very important. It does mean that the yarn is acrylic because that's the best machine washable you're going to get, which some people don't like using with baby, which is totally valid. That's just not how I'm doing it. And I'm using a counter just to keep track of which row I'm on, because this pattern has specific row counts. There is also, this pattern did also come with a visual chart. I do better with the written language instructions. I'm also going to warn everybody right now that I knit wrong. I taught myself how to knit, and I knit through the back instead of twisting the loop correctly, which I learned 2 years ago, I think, when I was working on a different project. So technically the correct way to knit technically is going through like this. I don't do that. I go through here. It's so much faster, and it really does not make that big of a difference in the final fabric unless you have a pattern that requires you to knit through the back. So don't use me to learn how to knit. Go to YouTube and find somebody who actually knits properly is my disclaimer here. Hey Bug, how you doing? And I could go and add the knitting tag to my thing, but I don't think that I care enough to do that right now. Okay, so like I said, this pattern is just like a very basic, is that right? That doesn't seem right. I'm on the wrong side. Did I not click this, or did I click it extra? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. My counter is off. Let's see. So purling and knitting is just where this little loop falls on the back or the front, and that can be used to make a pattern, which is how you get the triangles. And that's pretty much all this pattern is. There isn't any like super fancies. How many pearls do I have with this? 2, 3, 4, 5 before the swap. So yeah, I just accidentally clicked that an extra time, I think. So I should be on 7. It should be, yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, me and knitting didn't get along for a long time, Bug. So I want to be purling, not knitting. I learned how to knit maybe 5 times before it finally stuck. I ended up teaching myself out of a book when I was like 19, and that's the last time I had to teach myself how to knit. But I'd learned how like multiple times through my childhood. It just really did not stick. And I've gotten a lot better at it. specifically because I knit Jick hats because I'm a crazy person. 3-3, all right. So because I decided that I needed to knit Jick this specific kind of hat, I learned how to do cables and I learned how to do lace stitching. This one is a pretty, like I said, a pretty simple pattern. It's not super complicated. You just need to count, which is difficult enough as it is, honestly. But usually I can manage all right. Just the counting is okay. Especially since, so each marker here is a repeat of the pattern. So because I have these markers, I don't have to count the whole row. I just have to count each bit, and that works a lot better for me. Yeah, it's hard, Bug. Like figuring out the right motions and stuff. I learned how to crochet before I learned how to knit. Well, before I remembered how to knit, I guess is the proper way to put that. I'm doing 6-3. But I took the equivalent of home ec in high school, and I already knew how to crochet and sew and stuff. So you would have thought it would have been an easy A, but not so much. I just got an email about maybe a job. That's fun. Let's see. I haven't done socks yet. Well, I guess I did half a sock. When I broke my ankle, I made some like toeless socks that I could wear with my ankle brace because not wearing one was super uncomfortable. So and my toes kept hurting because they would pull the sock up whenever I put on the brace. So I manufactured something that would work for me. I did that incorrectly. We're gonna find out how well I count while I'm talking. That's how this is gonna go down. And the answer is gonna be not very. I can tell you that right now. So I've done that. I find picking up the heel again to be a very frustrating endeavor. Sorry, I'm so distracted by that email too. It looks like they're going to have me be a nude model for the art classes at the college here. So if you ever wanted to see me naked, sign up for an art class and you might have a chance. We'll see how well I do at that. I don't know that I'm going to be particularly good. But you know. Yeah, I remember we talked about this when I broke my ankle, Bug. Yeah, it's really hard to find stuff. It's so weird. I did make, when I had a splint on, like a plaster splint before I was able to go to the proper bone doctor. I don't remember the right word that they used for him. So I just have my toes hanging out in the middle of winter here because it was in October, like the end of October, so it was cold. So I knit myself a little toe cozy too that I immediately didn't need anymore. But yeah, it pays pretty well. I mean, it doesn't have a set schedule, so that might be a little bit weird, but it's $14 an hour, which is pretty reasonable to just stand around and think of stuff, I guess. I don't know how well I'm gonna do with like really physical poses just because I'm negative in shape. Which I do think drawing fat people and learning how to do that when you're a student is valuable, which is part of the reason why I'm willing to do this. But I am a little bit nervous about finding poses that work well since I haven't done it before. One of the people on my Tumblr, actually, when I posted about applying for this job, because I had to write like a cover letter and stuff, so I was whining about it. But what was I saying? I got distracted. Oh, one of my Tumblr followers actually had done that before, like as a profession, was a professional art model. And so gave me some tips, which was really helpful. And I've been thinking about it just because I think being an artist and then being an art model is going to be really helpful, because you think about what will look cool and what will be fun to draw, you know, in a way that somebody else might not. So hopefully I'll do okay with it. I'm willing to give it a shot anyway. We'll see what my dad thinks about that when I talk to him on Sunday. I did tell him I applied for it, but I don't know. Yeah, I do have kind of a weird body shape, and I say that with like love in my heart. I'm not being derogatory to myself, but I am very much like a pear on skinny little toothpicks. The biggest part of my body is my stomach, which is impressive because my boobs are not small either. So I think I have a lot of interesting foldages that you wouldn't find in other people, especially up here. There are a lot of like really fit people in Alaska because they're outdoorsy people. I am not an outdoorsy people. So, yeah, exactly, Bug, exactly. I am a couple shapes stuck together, but same concept. So hopefully, I guess I'll start thinking about that a little harder now. I don't know when they'll want me to go in though, so that might change stream schedule a little bit. And when I'm available for places. I'm gonna read the email now because otherwise I'm gonna weird out about it forever. Oh, it's in the evening. That's perfect. Oh, this actually lines up with other stuff really, really well. That's glorious. Okay. Cool. I'm going to forward this to my brother because he's also taking classes on the campus. It would help if I actually clicked forward and not reply. I don't know. I've been thinking about poses and stuff while I've been like brushing my teeth and stuff because I'm a weirdo. But I do think that I bend in some places in weird ways that other people don't. Like my hips are really, really loose. So I can fold my legs in very interesting ways. Like my favorite way to sit is cross-legged, except my calves are wrapped together too. That's not a thing that normal bodies do. Like I will wrap my foot all the way around to the other side of my other ankle. I almost started purling again. Come on, girl, get it together. It looks like those times line up pretty well with other stuff, so that's great. Having a little extra money never hurt nobody. Cool. It's a good news day today, apparently. Yeah, I have that problem too, Bug, where if I get like pants that actually fit my stomach, my legs are just like lost in the fabric. I know how to sew, so I can like actually alter my clothes a bit without too much trouble, but the way that modern fashion is set up really just makes some of us feel like we are aliens on our planet. Okay, we're gonna see if I manage to remember after I finish this row to not click the clicker counter. Because we're already one ahead and that's gonna mess with me. I left this just sitting on my bed the other night, so I probably accidentally clicked the clicker while I was sleeping or something. Which is silly, but life happens. I really hope my stickers show up soon too. I'm so excited to share those. It is one of the cruelest things on the internet that you get a shipping order, like a shipping notification, when they print the label and not when it actually gets picked up by the post office. I think that we should change that so that I don't get so excited. Oh yeah, it's a really useful skill bug. I mostly do hand sewing. I do have a machine, but it takes more space to set up than I really have, which hopefully, again, will change when I get a studio space, because I would like to start selling dice bags again. That would be nice. But hand sewing takes up a lot less space and I feel like is a lot more accessible. It feels a lot less scary because there isn't a machine involved, so you completely control the speed and what your hands are doing, you know? I also just don't like going fast, generally speaking. So that may be a me thing and not a you thing. But I usually do alterations with hand sewing versus a machine. Mostly just because, I guess because I can sit and do whatever I was doing already while I'm working at that. If I'm working at a sewing machine, I really need to focus on what I'm doing so I don't sew my hand to my project. Working with a sewing machine too is very much like taming a wild horse. Yep, been there, done that, bug. It's a lot harder to do that when you're hand sewing. You still can, don't get me wrong. It's still possible, but it's a lot less likely. The person who emailed me for the job is somebody that I don't actually know. I did get an art minor at this college when I was in school, but that was ages ago because I'm old. So I'm sure that there's been like a lot of turnover in the department since then. 6. I knew that. The last repeat on this is a half repeat, so where it starts sometimes confuses me if I'm not thinking about it. But I feel like I'll be less nervous if I'm being naked in a class with somebody I don't know versus somebody who taught me, which is a little weird, I guess. I don't know. That's fair, Bug. Yeah, I know, Bug. It gets weirder the older you get, too. Somebody I know just posted today that they bought a house. They already have like the spouse and the 2 kids, and now they've bought a house. And I'm just like, when? Because they mentioned how long they'd been with their partner, and I was like, I remember before you got that partner, and that amount of years, that can't be right. Time gets so much faster the older you get. It is wild. I've heard it kind of described in fractions. So like 1/35 of my life would be 1 year at this point in my life. And that is a lot less time than like 1/10 if I was 10 years old, right? Okay, I'm remembering to not click the clicker. I'm remembering to not click the clicker. Now we're actually on row 8. So like when you're a kid, it feels like it goes by slower because it's relatively a longer span of your life, right? And then it just goes faster and faster and faster the older you get, which is wild. I have another friend who was pregnant with her son while we were in college and taking a class together. Her son just started middle school this year. What? When did that happen? How does time pass? I don't get it. Make it stop. Like, holy cow. Just trucking along. The older you get, the more you realize that the adults who annoyed you by saying, wow, you've gotten so big, weren't trying to be like rude to you at all or dismissive. It was really just a what the fuck happened here kind of moment. Hey, time just keeps going, doesn't care. Oh, no, there's a knot in my yarn. I'm pulling from the center, which was not really a good idea with a ball this big, so, but you know what? Sometimes we make a decision and then we just stick with it despite the consequences. It was going to be a pain in the butt either way I pulled off of this ball. I have a ball winder, which makes like a center pull cake that's a lot easier to deal with when you're doing stuff like this. But this is such a huge thing of yarn that I didn't want to split it up like that because then I'd have to deal with weaving in more ends, and I don't want to. I already weaved in the end here. You can see its little butt right there because it was just driving me nuts. Weaving in ends, worst part of any knitting project. Well and truly. Let's see, we should be 7-2 now. Yes, 7-2. All right. Sorry, those numbers probably don't make any sense, but it's okay. They only make a little bit of sense to me. Because each repeat is technically 2 blocks, and each block is 9 stitches. So each little portion is set up into 9s. So 7 for the first part and then 2 for the last bit equals 9. And then I just do that but backwards on the other side. As long as things add up to 9, we'll be okay. Spelling is always a struggle. I have always been a bad speller. At least in my Duolingo adventures, I've learned that I'm a bad speller in every language. Just letters, man. No sense. None of them. These are twist on, like a mix and match cable and needle set. And they've been like untwisting a bunch, which is probably just because of how I knit and because I hold things funny, but sometimes the yarn starts getting caught and I need to retwist the thing on before we start losing stitches. Because therein lies disaster. And also it's just annoying to have the yarn catch when you're trying to move however many stitches this is. I think it's 100. Oh, it says on the pattern. Never mind. 173 stitches on this beast in each row. So that's a lot of things to move if it keeps getting caught. Ugh. Moving. I also often take off my thumb ring when I'm knitting because the markers tend to stick in it. at a certain angle and it gets really annoying. Oh, that's the worst bug. Yeah, I've had a few disasters with drop stitches, especially when I was doing stuff with like the lace pattern and stuff, because once you drop a stitch in that, it's just all over. At least for me it is. It's so complicated, I don't know how to pick the stitch back up. With this stuff, since it's just purl and knit, I can manage it usually if I notice that I've dropped a stitch. You just need to have a crochet hook on hand and you can fix it pretty easily. I mean, I'd still rather not drop a stitch, but the problem with yarn is that, or with knitting, I mean, is that once one stitch goes, it's connected to everything else. Crochet is a lot less delicate that way because it just goes stitch by stitch instead of like a whole row kind of thing. One more. So it's a lot better for like travel projects and stuff, I think. But to each their own also. I'm sure that if I knit properly and not the way that I do, it would be less likely for a stitch to pull out the way that they do for me too, but you know what? Life is difficult, and sometimes we make those difficulties for ourselves, but as long as we're aware and we decide that we're willing to deal with it, it's fine. This is the project that I've been working on most of the time when I'm hanging out in streams. Because it's like enough to keep my mind busy and something that I need to get done. But it's not so complicated that I can't just like set it down and start typing. Some projects are like super complicated and you need to think about it a lot, especially if you're teaching yourself new stitches. But since this is such a big, I mean big blanket, it's not that big. It's not like a king size blanket or something, but I didn't want to do anything crazy complicated. Just because I usually do like hats and scarves. Those are the size projects that I enjoy doing. I do have a knitting loom to make like afghans, but I have never used it. I bought it with the intention of making a blanket for my mom, so. Because I made her some shawls and I way overestimated the amount of yarn that I needed for that, so I still have a bunch of it left and I was going to make her a matching throw, but no longer an issue. Yeah, definitely squirrel brain, for sure. I get that. I always say that I have the directional sense of a stoned squirrel. Can't remember where I buried my nuts. I need to decide what I'm having for lunch too. No, wait, I have leftovers. Never mind. I know what I'm having for lunch, and it's leftover fried rice. Heyo. We got Thai food the other night. Because I was supposed to make dinner, and I was feeling like crap because I had a migraine, so. I finished the soup that I got yesterday for lunch, so today is fried rice leftovers. Okay, where are we at here? I do think that this camera setup is so much nicer because I actually have some space on the table. There, you can't see my little fingies. Huh? Which means that I can actually like have a good center point for doing knitting. So nice, so helpful. And this is not even at its highest point, which is fantastic. I could put it way higher up if I wanted to. But I do also think that if I put it too high up, then you're really just going to get my chest in the bottom half of frame most of the time. I have the odd feeling that Twitch would not really approve of that. It might give me some more viewers, though. I don't know. I mean, really, I'm just wearing a hoodie today, so it's not that interesting. You aren't missing much. Don't worry about it. I'm trying to remember the username of the person who made the sweatshirt. I have it. I could do it. I could. I knit with acrylic, so so it would be fine. I mean, I'd have to get a hot tub. I think that's the only issue, really. Maybe if it starts getting like super hot up here, I can do knitting in a pool in an attempt to not overheat myself. I don't know, if I start doing that, do you think that I could count corsets as a business expense? Probably. I could probably figure out a way to make that work. That would be pretty funny, gotta say. Although my hip to waist ratio is a little bit ridiculous for corsets. It's hard to find ones that actually fit me properly. So for a fat chick, I have a pretty skinny waist, like in comparison to how big the rest of me is. I don't know, my body is just made to be the most annoying to buy clothes for. That's really what it boils down to. And I don't think I just realized that there was a thought that I was talking about earlier, like probably an hour and a half ago, that I never actually finished the train of thought. Brains, what they like. Yeah, that's hard for me, Bug, because I'm like not a short person. So I have trouble finding shirts that are actually like long enough, and it's really frustrating and I hate it. I've just started buying pants that go really high up. I mostly wear leggings anyway, honestly. Like I own jeans, but they're so uncomfortable that I just don't bother most of the time if I don't have to. That's also why I wear a lot of skirts, because it's easier to find things that are like stretchy and fit better. Also, again, with the aforementioned stick leg problems. Yeah, that's what it's all about, Bug. Leggings, yoga pants. I do skirts if I need to dress up. Although I don't really dress up all that much anymore. If I'm visiting my dad, that's pretty much the only time I have to dress up. Okay, this time we actually get to click the clicker. Because now we're on row 9. Great. I'm gonna spread out the middle a little bit so you can see what we're doing a little bit better. I don't have really a properly long enough cable for this, so I'm knitting it all scrunched up, which can mess with your tension, but also it's a baby blanket, so whatever. But yeah, so this is the purl side, that's the knit side. And I find it easy to tell now after doing it forever. You can like tell the difference, but you don't always know what means what. Oh, there's a mistake there. Whoa. Whatever, that's fine. Again, baby blanket. Not a big deal. I knew there was a row on this where I like mixed up something and I decided to leave it because I didn't need to stress out about it. I stress out about enough things already. But also, I forget what, mercy patch or something, where you aren't supposed to make something perfect because it brings in bad luck, which I'm sure I'll make plenty more mistakes and it won't be an issue. Oh, that's good, Bug. Job that lets you wear comfy pants is a good job because it lets you wear comfy pants. The fact that we place like such an incredible amount of social pressure on being uncomfortable for other people is just wild to me when I think about it. Like, why did we decide that being so uncomfortable was professional? That's silly. Let's not. Okay, now we're doing 8-1 instead of 7-2. I have a really bad habit of when I'm knitting looking at the clock way too much, so it makes time go slower. I'm like, how long have I been streaming? How long have I been streaming? What time is it? It's 2 minutes since the last time you looked. Calm down. I don't even have like a whole bunch of other stuff to do today, so I don't know what I'm freaking out about. Yeah, uniforms can be really bad. The first like real job that I had when I was in high school, it was run by 2 dudes. It was like a new business for them, and it was run by 2 white dudes, and you could tell that they had never thought in their life about how difficult it would be to find certain clothing items for women. I was the only girl who worked there for a significant amount of time. But part of the uniform was cargo shorts. It's almost impossible to find cargo shorts for girls, or it was back then. This would have been in the early 2000s, when cargo shorts were like actually popular. But their requirements for the cargo shorts were like impossible to find, so I ended up wearing boy cargo shorts for a long time, and they didn't fit properly, and it was like the worst. Uniforms are just always awful. Oh yeah, for sure, Astra. The norms of what is professional and what isn't is just like absolutely, it's weighted in so much historical oppression. It's absolutely wild. Because like things as basic that we think of, like women's bathrooms didn't exist for like a long amount of time to try and keep women in the home. Like that was the whole purpose of it. I split that yarn. Do I want to fix it? I don't think it's that important. So like, yeah, right, Bug. It was like impossible to find, and luckily this was when I was like 15, so I was super skinny, even though I was still pretty tall. So I was able to fit in like young boy cargo shorts. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to find anything that fit me. But they also had like official t-shirts and stuff that I had to return when I left. It was just like, nobody wants to wear that shirt again. Like, what are you thinking? Sorry, but I've been working like 6-hour shifts in heat, like grilling burgers. Nobody wants to wear that now that I've done that. I don't know, because they picked a light color too, so the armpits always ended up looking really grungy and gross. Just not great planning on their part, which is probably part of why the business shut. I don't know. I think life would be better if we ditched a lot of the societal norms that we have. For sure, Bug. For sure. Especially when you have a bunch of teenagers working. Because teenagers be stanky. It's almost like living in a hormone soup isn't great for your body. I do not get those people who are like, high school are the best years of your life. I'm like, we must have had a very different lived experience. I did not have fun in high school for a number of reasons, but also I don't want to be stuck in that body ever again. Thank you. That was once was enough for me. I don't need to jump back on that hormone roller coaster. I got enough going on right now. Thank you very much. I don't know. High school was never going to be the best years of my life in any case, but I don't really want to go through all that again. Once was enough. Khaki. I love khaki, like as a concept, but if you have to wear khaki, it's the worst. Because it gets grubby so fast. So it looks really bad, especially if you're doing like outdoor stuff or if you're working with food. It gets looking so gross so fast. I worked at a pizza joint where I had to wear khaki pants. And like with pizza, there's no way you're going to find a fabric that actually holds up well to the pizza construction, because either you have a light color that's going to get wrecked by tomato sauce, or you have a dark color that's going to show all of the flour and cornmeal that you have to use to roll out the dough. Like there's no winning there. So, yep, always. They get so gross so fast. It's really atrocious. Like I enjoy working with food, but the people who are in charge of the people who work with food are awful. Although to be fair, just like people who are in charge of jobs in general are not fun. I still have stress nightmares about the last in-person job I worked. Still, I have not worked there. I think my last paycheck was in 2014. And I still have nightmares about it. They also had weird clothing requirements, now that I think about it. That was mostly because one of the bosses was just like projecting their issues onto us. Yeah, working food is a difficult job and it really does not get enough credit. People are like, oh, those are your minimum wage jobs, so you don't need to do much. Well, you're wrong for a number of reasons in that sentence. But also, working with food is just difficult. Like, either you're working with a lot of hot stuff or you're working with a lot of cold stuff. You have to lift a bunch of stuff. Prepping food takes forever, and you have so many poorly ventilated kitchen spaces, and it's just like it's almost all bad. Customers are awful too. Like they're nice customers in any job, don't get me wrong, but people who are hangry are difficult to deal with. The last job I worked was at a college bookstore, so I was working with the textbooks, and people get a little heated. I did returns for that, and it was a pretty reasonable return policy. It was a lot nicer than other ones for colleges across the country because I was one of the people who had to research what the return policy was and like what standard was in the industry and stuff like that. Ours was pretty nice, honestly, and people got so mad. Like, I had people throw books at my faces. I had people grab me so hard they left bruises. Like, can you behave? You're a grown adult. Can you get it together? And it was always the parents who were worse, honestly. Like, the new freshmen were always super polite, and their parents were just horrible little gremlins. It's fine. Like, that's what's weird. I don't have nightmares about the customers. I have nightmares about my boss from that job. I could survive the customers just fine. I have a really good bitch glare down that I have cultivated over my years of living on this earth and having to deal with people. So usually I got the right vibes to make people like take a step back and realize that they're doing something inappropriate. There was one guy who tried to hit on me while I was sitting working at the computer on something, and he immediately came up and was like, how's it going, sweetheart? And I finished what I was typing and looked up and with just like the deadest, bitchiest face in the world and went, how can I help you, sir? And he just blanched completely white and was like, oh, I'm sorry, and was super polite for the rest of the interaction. It was great. So like I can deal with customers fine. It's not that big a deal. But it's just kind of wild to see how people think that they can act. Because like especially like I can understand getting heated over textbooks. There's a lot of money going on there and you shouldn't have to pay that much money. I totally agree. I get it. The publisher charging you $350 for this book you're going to use for like 3 months is not fair, and I agree with you. But you also scribbled inside of a brand new book and are trying to return it to me. I can't take that back. So, yeah, it really does bug. It really does. And I have apparently I have apparently gotten really good at it. Because I can make a man blanch at 50 paces. I think one of the like best customer service things when you're an underling for sure is saying things very, very politely, but with a face that says that you're really over the entire interaction. Because if they try to report it to your boss, it just sounds like you were being really nice and they sound crazy. Yeah, for sure, Bug. Like, I don't know. There are just some people on this planet who really think that they are the main character and cannot for a second think that their behavior is affecting other people. Couldn't be me. I overthink every interaction I've ever had. But I'm always like super polite to people who are working customer service jobs because like they have to deal with so much shit. One of my favorite things is being the person in line after somebody was being really rude and awful and saying loud enough for the other person to hear, wow, that customer was really awful to you, weren't they? Just like, yes, I will shame you publicly for behaving this way. They can't because they're getting paid, but you have no such protection from me. Yeah, exactly, Bug. I love that. There was one time where somebody was trying to return a book, and I had helped them find the book in the first place. They didn't remember me. Um, but I had told them that it was the wrong book, and they were throwing a whole bunch of bullshit about it. Like they were throwing a whole hissy fit. Um, and they were taking notes while we were interacting, which is like fine. I totally get that. I understand wanting to keep track of what was going on, but they wrote down help from Katie, and I can read upside down because I was planning on being a teacher, but I saw what they were writing and I was like, oh, you'll want to write Katie D because there's multiple Katies here. You'll get them confused if you try to talk to the bosses. And he looked so shocked. I was like, yeah, people realize what you're doing. It's like, I remember you from last time, and I told you that this was the wrong campus for you to buy books from. And now you're trying to return something after I told you that you shouldn't unwrap it because this was going to be the wrong book. It's like, I really tried to help you. Just some people's children. Anyway, be nice to people. It's not that hard. And even if it was hard, it's still worth it because they're people. Wild concepts with Katie 101. I don't know. Also, don't hit on people while they're working. That's so gross. Sometimes people are into it. Sometimes they're not. Leave it up to them. Because I have definitely seen a cutie on duty and been like, hey, I think you're cute. Here's my phone number if you're interested. And then just left it at that. Do not try to lock them into a conversation. Don't flirt with them in front of your wife. That's a pro tip for you. Because that has definitely happened to me before. People's behavior. Absolutely wild. God, that job was just... I loved working with the customers for the most part because there were like a super amount of nice people. And I enjoy helping people, so that was really nice. But also, the way that the organization was set up was just so bad. So bad. I miss it some days. I don't miss the boss, but I miss the job itself, which no longer exists for the record. But I wouldn't mind doing that again if there was a different boss. Although I do think I'm a lot more mentally healthy now that I'm not doing stuff like that. Which again, partially has to do with the boss, but I think I do better structuring my own time, generally speaking. We are on one of the middle rows between things, so we're doing 9-9 on these, which is easy if I remember which direction I'm going. Say something nice about myself. Let's see. I think that I have gotten a lot better about realizing when I'm going into a spiral and stopping myself, which has taken a lot of work, and I'm really proud about that. Because, like, I noticed this morning that I was liable to go into a spiral because my mental health was not great. And because of that, I altered what I was planning to do today so that I'm less likely to do that. Because sometimes brains just be like that and you gotta live through it. But that doesn't mean you have to make it harder on yourself. And that is a hard-earned lesson for me Yeah, Astra, that drives me nuts too. Just like, please don't. Like, sometimes you can definitely tell when somebody else is interested, but it's still so inappropriate to bother somebody when they're on the clock. And so often, the people who are the worst offenders at that won't be able to tell. You okay? My brother's here. Everybody say hi to my brother. He waved at you. You can't see, but he did. Cold feet. Yeah, it's a hard one, Bug, for sure. What was I saying? The people who are most likely to need the reminder that you aren't supposed to flirt with people, or who are going to be aware that the fic writing is fictional, is are the people who won't do that. That sentence really got away from me. The people who are most likely to flirt with somebody on duty are also the people who will ignore the fact that they're the ones who need the advice. That's what I'm trying to say. Because, like, the middle-aged man who thinks that because you're smiling, you're flirting is the worst offender and always has been. And I definitely had one guy when I was working at this bookstore grab my butt so hard he left a bruise. Well, his wife was standing right there. And it's just like, can you behave? What is wrong with you? He said hi, if you guys didn't hear. Ugh. He came out here to get his slippers because his feet was cold. Exactly, Bug. Like, I'm being paid to be polite to you. So, I had somebody, because I worked on college campus, right, where I was also taking classes, I would run into customers in various places, like including in my classes, and people would be shocked that I was not super smiley and helpful to them. And it's like, yeah, because I was being paid to be super smiley and helpful, dude. Had nothing to do with you. Although there was one guy who I helped find his books who was really, really cute and had a really nice mustache, and me and the girls who were working there were like talking about it nonstop, and then he was in one of my classes. That was a good day. I haven't talked to him in a while. I wonder how he's doing. We're still friends on Spotify. But he was starting. I ended up my senior year having to take a beginner class in my chosen field because they didn't accept one of my petitions for a class that was really similar because I'd changed majors. So if I had gotten that petition approved, I never would have met that guy because he was taking the beginning class because he had just started and moved up here. So there you go. Sometimes things happen for a reason, and that reason is so that you can stare at a glorious mustache instead of learning beginner vocabulary for your program. I knit in that class too, actually. I was working on another blanket that I never finished. That was a king-size blanket, though. That was gonna take forever. For real, Bug. The class was stupid, but there were fun people in the class, so it was fine. I knit until one of the ladies who always sat next to me, like, it was this huge lecture hall. So it was like an 100 person lecture hall, right? And there were like 30 of us in the class. And she always sat right next to me. And I was knitting in class because, like I said, it was my senior year. This was an introductory level class. I was beyond this class. So I was knitting so that I could at least get something good with my time. And she complained to the teacher that my knitting was too loud for her. She could have moved to any place else in the lecture hall. She was perfectly capable. I was not sitting in one of the seats that was right in front of the projector or the teacher. Like, I was sitting way off to the side because, like I said, I didn't really think I needed to be there. So she complained to the teacher who talked to me that my knitting was too loud. I do use metal needles, so they do make a sound. But instead of just like moving so that she couldn't hear me, she complained to the teacher, who then told me that I needed to stop knitting in class. And the look on her face when I pulled out a crochet hook and started crocheting instead was absolutely amazing. I still get so much serotonin from that. Yeah, she was an interesting person. I ran into her on campus a couple times, and I did not approve of how she interacted with people. But you know, I think I won that battle. Because what I was doing for the blanket, I was doing it a little bit differently. So I was doing knit panels, and then I was crocheting them together with a different color yarn. So it was kind of like a combination deal. So I just started crocheting together some of the squares that I had in my bag. It's like we can play, we can try to outbitch each other, but I think I'm gonna win. So I just crocheted the squares together for the rest of that class. Like, I am a nice person. I am. And I try very hard to put more kindness into the world than negativity. But sometimes bitches try to test you. And you have to show them what it's all about. Oh, I hate that bug. Ugh. I'm glad the teacher stuck with you for it, though. That's so silly. Like, I can totally understand having difficulty paying attention if there's extra sounds going on. Like, I totally get that because I have that issue too. I'm definitely one of those people who can like hear the light bulbs buzzing, and I find it really distracting if I'm trying to talk to somebody. So like, I get it, I do. But also, there are ways for you to make that so that it's not an issue for yourself and not make it everybody else's problem. Which is what I do every day of my life. I don't know, just some people really think they're the main character. That's just how it goes. Yeah, that's right. Had a moment. Is that right? I'm going to count it again. Yeah. For sure. The only drama llamas we accept are the actual llamas themselves. Because I think it's really funny when they spit at people. Iconic behavior. Because llamas don't just spit with whatever's in their mouth. They'll pull up cud to spit on you. They'll make sure it's super nasty. And I can respect that. I split that again. Pay attention. I think I'm gonna do one more row after I finish this one, and then I will wrap up because I would like to go eat lunch. I'm a little hungry. I will probably continue working on this all day today because I have other streams later. Hopefully, I think. I guess if I stayed going a little bit longer, I could raid somebody who I know is starting in like 45 minutes, but maybe I should not do that. because that would be bad for my tummy. Oh, that's so sweet, Bug. Llamas can be like very temperamental animals. Same with alpacas. They're very similar. I was a horse girl for part of my youth, and a lot of horse places have llamas as well because they're really good guard animals. Because they will throw a hissy fit if they see somebody they don't recognize. People use geese for that too, because they're very territorial. Yeah, for sure, Astra. I try to not do that. I also, this headset in particular is one of those kinds that pinches your ears to your head, and so if I wear it too long, I'll get a headache. I think it's a good headset, and like it was great for what I got it for when I got it, but it definitely is not the best for long-term streaming setup. Sorry, I just pulled this out of the yarn ball that's in my lap. That's not helpful to me. Can you de-knot, please? Thank you. Man, guys, we finally made it. I've had to deny 3 bots the ability to chat in my stream today. We finally made it. The bots found us. We're moving up in the world, everybody. The automod catching that is very nice, though. I did add some terms for those, so I'll need to go back through and report them properly. That's how you can tell that you've made it, here and on Instagram. At least it means I can tell that the algorithm is actually helping me out a little bit. On Instagram, I get so many of those spam commissions comments and stuff, and oh, submit to blah blah. It's like, oh no, actually that's going to do the opposite of what you wanted. I'm not going to pay you to promote my stuff. I'm actually going to block you and the profile that you're trying to promote. So that's not going to go great for you. Nice try though. That happens a lot with like the Pokemon stuff that I post too. And almost always the thing that they're trying to get me to pay to promote is actually just about Pokemon cards and isn't actually about art or anything. It's so silly. Like, yeah, sure, maybe paying one of those accounts like $50 to post one of my things would be worth it in the long run, but I'd much rather build up a following of my own devices instead of just finding somebody big to help me out, you know? Because I am a goddamn delight, and if you aren't following me for me, then perhaps I do not want you here. Which is probably the antithesis of the majority of the internet at this point. But you know what? I grew up on the old internet. Okay. I should have brought my chapstick out here. I'm realizing. My lips are chapped. Probably because I've been talking non-stop for 3 hours. Wild how that happens. Now we're switching, so I should do knit 9, purl 9 instead of purl first. All right. We're moving on to a different square. Let's go. I wonder how effective those bots actually are in general of getting customers. It must work a little bit or they'd stop doing it, right? On both here and Instagram, any bot really. There must be somebody who falls for it still. Trying to think about what I want to do for physical art next Friday. There is a kind of art that I've been seeing on the Instagrams that I might want to try out a little bit. So we might do an experiment. Then I also want to do some thank you stickers for my orders. Because I have one of the options in my shop is a grab bag sticker. So if you can't pick what sticker you want, I will pick a sticker for you and send it to you. And I got little like blind bags for those, but I would want to close those with a sticker. So I think the thank you stickers might be next time. And I think the way that I want to do those is I want to do little watercolor roses like are on my other stuff, but like small circles, so that I could also use them as closing stickers with greeting cards when I finally get those settled. And maybe some hearts, since I do also have that heart pattern. But that would be fun to just play around with paint a bit and pick colors. Maybe do some funky combinations and stuff. I'm just gonna keep my sticker company busy for the rest of eternity because I just keep thinking of new stickers. I love stickers. I love stickers. They're so fun. And I love receiving stickers too. One of the Patreons that I subscribe to has a sticker tier, and I've been subbed to the stickers. And I still, the one for this past month I got, and I love it so much, and I need to put it someplace where I see it all the time, but it will last forever. And I'm having such a hard time deciding where to put that. Like, I thought about putting it on my water bottle because I have some of my stickers on there for product shots. And like a little self-promo if I bring my water bottle someplace. Somebody's like, I like your sticker. And I'm like, thanks, I made that. You can buy it. Give me money. So like there is spot, and I use this like every single day. So there is like a spot where I could put it. It's a pretty big sticker, but I also don't want to put somebody else's stickers in product shots if I add more of my stickers to this. Like, I don't mind giving people promo, but I think that it would be a little bit confusing, generally speaking. And then I considered putting it on my laptop, but I'm not going to have my laptop forever. 'Tis the nature of technology. So I don't know. I haven't decided where to put it. I have been putting stickers on my journals just to kind of like differentiate them a little bit, because I use the same kind of notebook for every single one, and then it's difficult for me to go back if I'm trying to find some notes for something. So I don't know. I also think perhaps I'm putting too much pressure on this sticker. But it's such a good sticker. I didn't bring it out here with me or I'd show you, but it's Incendavery. Same username like everywhere, I think. Dave does really cool stickers, and I just like Dave's art in general. I think I've shown a few people here the tarot kind of stickers that he's been doing lately. So instead of like 2 of swords, his is 2 of fuck, which I think is like A+ perfect. But he does really cool art. I've been following him for ages. Highly recommend. Isn't that great? I love it so much. I have a few of them. I probably have photos that I can post various places. Because I think they're so funny. There's one, is it the nine of swords that has them all hung up on the wall with the guy in bed like crying and stressed out? That's one that he's done too. So it's 9 of fuck. And it's just, it perfectly encapsulates the suit of swords. If you aren't familiar with tarot, there's different suits, and swords is very much the highly emotional difficulty suit. So it just matches so perfectly. Oh, I did that wrong. I got too focused on talking and didn't do enough thinking. I needed to do knit there, not purl, because we're swapping directions. It's fine. Easy to fix. And I'm glad that I noticed. Yeah, I maybe should have done a little bit more of a complicated pattern with this, because I definitely, like halfway through each row, I just kind of clock out. Which is not the best if you actually care what something looks like when it's done. Which I do a little bit for this since it's a gift. There we go. Alright, back on track. I am gonna need to, because we're like halfway through this row, I'm gonna need to look and see who's live to see who we can go bother. That's fair, that's fair. Jenner is just a soup. Well and truly. I haven't like decided on a label or anything, but I definitely do the she, they pronouns just because, like, I don't know. It's like how I say that I was raised Christian. I'm not still practicing, but I still have all of that knowledge, you know? It's kind of, I was raised female. I know how to do my makeup. Sometimes I like looking girly. But I also think that gender is kind of bullshit. Which, let me tell you, studying cultural anthropology did not help me conform more to gender roles. It's more like, oh yeah, this is fake everywhere. Cool. I just usually have the pronoun add-on for Chrome, but it doesn't show up in like the like stream preview stuff that they have for streamers. It only shows up on the actual stream stuff and like for viewers. So it would take an extra window being open to have that up for me, which I do think would be really good and helpful, but I also don't want to overtax my laptop any more than I'm already doing. So if I ever misgender somebody, it's definitely not on purpose. I don't have a great memory with that kind of stuff, and I always second guess myself, so just correct me and I will do my best to do better about it. It's never meant with any harm. I'm not being malicious. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes bullshit is fun and sometimes bullshit is not fun. That's just how it goes. I don't know. I would probably pick genderqueer just because I like the flag. I love the colors on that flag. It's so fun. They're so different. Although they are very similar to a flag that a bunch of gross turfs use, which is unfortunate. Similar colors. But the colors are so pretty. I really just go with queer anymore. It just sums up everything. I don't feel the need to nitpick myself. I would like to get to a point where I can actually like sell Pride stickers. Yeah, right? Me too. I was like, where is this coming from? What are you thinking? It's like, oh, I guess it's some feminist flag from forever ago. They are. They're really pretty colors, I think. And they're colors that I enjoy. But it being co-opted is not great. Not that we should let them win with it either. I don't know. Turfs do weird things. They will do the most impressive mental acrobatics to use stuff like that and think that they came up with it. But I'd love to get to a point where I can actually like afford to do all of my Pride stuff as stickers. It's just there's so many different flags that I'd want to include that the startup cost is so prohibitive. Because I really do think being queer is part of my brand at this point. I'm gay, in case you were wondering, and I approve of other gay things. I don't know, and I always think including the flags that get kind of overlooked a lot is really important to me personally, which is why I have most of the Pride stuff I've done has been print on demand with other companies. Just because it's always so exciting when you get to see your flag when you don't get to see it all the time. And also I think including certain flags as a message that yes, you're included too is really important. That's why I'm always pretty adamant about including the ace and demi flags when I do stuff. They get overlooked a lot. I can definitely tell that I've been talking nonstop for 3 hours. Can you hear it? Okay, last 10 stitches, and then I'm gonna figure out who we're gonna raid. If anybody has somebody they like that's up, I am willing to expand our reach a little bit and find somebody new. But I will look at my follow list and see who we've got going on. I do know that Elena Monster is streaming in, what time is it? In like 25 minutes. And I'll probably hang out there unless Jick starts up. Or until Jick starts up, if he does. He's been having a rough time, that boy. I hope his life eases up, because he has been dealing with so much stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I do asexual for sure. Yeah, for sure. There's always like the umbrella ones, and I am very fond of the 1978 Gilbert Baker flag, just because I really like the cerulean tealy color. I love that color so much. It's one of my favorites. And while pink isn't one of my favorite colors, it is a nice color in combination with the other ones, I think. I need to mute that tab before I do anything else. Don't forget. Okay. But yeah, I try to include a bunch of flags just because I mostly go with the pan flag, and that one used to get left off a lot, to the point where I'd like be confused if I actually saw the pan flag in something. Because I'd be like, wait, what's that? And I was like, that's your flag, dipshit. So silly. Yeah, it is Friday. It's weird, isn't it, Bug? This week has not felt like this week to me. You know what I mean? Let's see. We've got some people just starting up who we've rated before. Do I remember who you are? I've followed a bunch of people lately because I've been trying to like expand my corner of the internet a bit. And I don't always remember why I followed somebody in the first place. Let's see. That's not the button I meant to push. I'm betting that my computer is chugging a little bit now. So sorry. You wanna load? Please? Woody, please? I don't think we've rated this person before, have we? I don't know, because it won't load, so I can't see what their layout looks like. Okay, this is a little bit of a mess. That's okay. I'm gonna keep working on it later anyway, after I finish eating. I am going to change to the ending screen just so that people know that we are ending, because that's what's happening right now, in case that wasn't clear. But I'll keep talking to you for a little bit. Oh yeah, we have. This is that person. I remember them. What if we go raid somebody who doesn't have a lot of viewers? I actually helped this person get affiliate ages ago, like years and years ago. And they are playing Animal Crossing, which I haven't seen them play before. I'm surprised. I didn't know that they did that. I hope he's been doing well. I haven't been able to pop in a lot. He's, I want to say German. I'm not 100% sure on that. Because, like I said, it's been forever. Yeah, German. So he has a fun accent, and I remember him being very nice. So just kind of a cool, chill person. So let's go do that. He's only got a few viewers right now, so we'll make an impact. I still don't have a raid command because I'm like, we're small enough that it's really not a big deal. But if you want to throw an emote in and just say hi, then that's fine. If not, that's also fine, because I'm probably going to pop in and then disappear so that I can go eat lunch. Because I'm hungry, and also I need to pee. Thank you, Astra, for just like being here, not only subbing, but gifting me things and talking to me and just being a generally awesome person. Thanks to you too, Bug. It's always good to see you. I'm glad that we get to catch each other. I know your job's been keeping you for a lot of the week, so it's always good to see you. Yeah, so thank you everybody for being here. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for listening to me ramble constantly about everything and nothing. Remember that you're loved. Remember to take care of yourselves. Remember to be kind to yourself. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for me, because I want you to have nice things. All right. So I will see you on Tuesday, if not before in other places, when we will be doing the food paint challenge. So have a good day, and I'll see you then.